So Donna, you're on twice, right? We've got you on 2 computers. Is that correct?
I don't understand this circle thing that I did.
Your UCAM 6? I don't know. I think that must be your second computer, is my guess.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. All right. One of these days, you and I need to Zoom. We need to figure out how to get you all set up on just one.
Well, whenever you have time.
Okay.
I'm retired.
That sounds delightful. All right. So we've got Donna. Mary's going to watch later. She can't make it. Melody, I don't see Melody yet. I don't think. I'm hoping that she got hers all loaded. Let's see. Lynn is here. Barbara Hoff is here. Jennifer, did I see? Yep, you're here. You guys jump around on the screen. New people join. So I'm like, where'd you go? Let's go. Tanya? No Tanya yet. All right. Barb McBean, Marty.
I got it.
Okay, so Donna, where'd you go? I think we've got, let's see here. I'm gonna do, let me do that.
I got on without tech support this morning. I was real proud of myself.
I love it.
Good job. Good job.
I don't know. You're the one who found the answer to our question. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Because I had the question a year ago or more, and somebody else helped me find the answer. So I just had to get back and dig it out.
I love it. I love it. Jean, are you on here yet this morning? No.
I'm right here.
Oh, you're right in front of my nose. All right. There we go. All right. So we're just missing Tanya and Melody, I think, at this point. So Jerry's on. Okay. So have we got any show and tell? Anybody stitch anything out? Love you did.
I stitched it.
Oh, yay, Marty and Lynn.
I got mine, and I even
that's
redid the one I did on the class period. I changed it so it was smaller because you had made the remark that I had an awful large pattern. So I went back and redid it. So it worked out great. Thank you.
Nicely done, Marty. Jennifer, I think I saw you hold one up, didn't I? Let's see that again. We're just going to go around the room here. Oh, that looks great. Very nice. I like it. Lynn, show us yours. You were playing. She's the one who figured out some other design.
Oh,
Oh,
Donna, that looks good too.
Yep, Donna's looks too.
I thought it could have been bigger.
You what?
I thought it could be bigger.
Well, you can always go back and do another one and make it bigger. Barb, did you do one too? Did I see you holding something up?
I've been holding something up, but it's different. This is the napkin corner.
That's beautiful.
I love that.
Thank you.
That'd be pretty for Easter.
I had to make sure I got things into a 120 by 120 hoop. So I did a lot of resizing.
Yep.
And then some of the patterns I wanted were, I needed Good Designs quilt blocks that had the batting in the back, you know, the base, and then so I had to get rid of like 19 steps to get the pattern in the middle.
Yep.
And I did it.
And you did it. I love it. That's
Good
awesome. Awesome. Did anybody else get anything stitched out? Did we miss anybody?
I did a quilt label, but yeah, I don't know if you can see it.
Oh,
That's pretty.
It says the ocean. Very nice. Very, very nice. And you were working on resizing, is that right, Jean? You wanted to make them certain sizes. Was it you who mentioned that or no? No. All right. I'm making things up. I do that sometimes. All right. Our next class, I'm going to mention it at the beginning and at the end, is April the 27th. Does anyone have a problem with us moving that to 9 a.m.?
no.
Okay. 9 would work a little bit nicer since we had to split our Mac folks out and put them in a separate class. It just allows me to get started with them at 1 in the afternoon. So if everybody's good with that, we'll do 9 next time. And I'll make sure that I make a big deal about that when I send the email too, to help us remember.
And you said 9 o'clock, Libby?
Yeah, 9 a.m. on the 27th. Okay, did everybody reset all modules before starting today? If you've made any changes?
No, I didn't do it.
Does everybody know how to do that? All right, let me show you how to do it, just to be sure. And I made, oh, Lynn, yes. Which one? Are you on 2 computers, Lynn? Who do you want me to give permission to?
Lynn Herman computer.
Herman computer. All right, here we go.
We can record?
And if you would like to, Katie is recording it, is going to put a link up on YouTube. So if you don't want to use your own space, you don't have to.
Okay.
She's on doing that, but if anybody wants permission, I can give you that. That's not a problem.
Well, if you could give me permission, I'd appreciate it.
There you go. You got it. You should be able to see it down there in your screen.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. You are very welcome. I made my cursor giant for today for when I'm sharing screen. Sometimes when I'm connected, it'll do weird things though. So if you guys don't like it, I'll put it back. But I did make it big and green so you can see things.
Yeah, you could do that. Cool.
Yeah, kind of fun, kind of fun. Let's see here.
Open up.
Sometimes when I do that in class, it doesn't work so well because I'm connected wirelessly to the TVs. And so it gets a little strange, but let's see if it works for you for today. All right. Okay, so to, what am I doing? Reset all modules. Reset all modules. There we go. Can you see my whole screen? Can you see my tools down here?
Yeah.
Okay, just verifying, and see my nice big green highlighted pointer. We'll see if that dude works. If it causes delays, let me know and we'll take it away. So to reset all modules, I'm going to click on my tools. Mine are in my taskbar. Yours might not be. You might have to go over here to your start and do it. I'm going to do it from start just in case somebody doesn't have it down in their taskbar yet. And it's the same thing, different paths. So I'm going to scroll through all my stuff until I get to Premiere, NOP. And then I am going to click my little drop down next to my Premiere Plus 2 embroidery system. And that will give me my tools, Premiere Plus 2 configure. So I will click on that. And now, whether you clicked on it from down here or in the start menu, we're at the same place. And I'm going to do reset all modules. It tells me they'll all be closed and reset to their default settings. That's what I want so that we're all in the same place. I'll say okay. And it says, please confirm that all modules except Premiere Plus 2 are now closed. If you look down here in my toolbar, my Premiere is not open. It doesn't have the underline under it, which is great. I'll say okay, and it tells me, it's really talkative. All modules are now reset, and I'll say okay, and then I'm going to cancel this. So
Libby, what does that do when you reset? Does that erase things? What does it do?
It puts it back to the default settings. So I'm going to stop sharing and let me go a little bit deeper into that. If you are an applicator, you probably tend to turn off your color sort on export, because if you don't, and depending on how the design was digitized, if the designer didn't use different colors for the placement stitch, the tack down stitch, and then the ultimate stitch out, it'll put those all together and it won't give you a chance to put your fabric down. Learned that the hard way. So some of those kinds of settings. So if you have specifically changed a setting because of the way you work and you prefer not to change, not to reconfigure, that's okay. The other thing it would do is if you had set your grid to maybe a 20 millimeter or a 5 millimeter because you were trying to do some placement that was very specific, it'll put it back to the 10 millimeter that it came with. Sometimes we change our background colors and we want the background of our hoop to be a different color. Maybe we're doing lace and we've got all white thread and we can't see that very well against our background, and we put a deep purple in there. It'll put it back to that blue that it came with.
Okay.
So it resets it to factory settings, and I get myself in trouble because I do it so I can work with you guys. And then I go to do an applique and go, you didn't stop, you dirty dog. So again, if there are certain settings that you have specifically set and you don't want to do this, that's fine, or make a note for yourself to go back in and put them back. So anyone who wants to reconfigure, go ahead and do that, or reset, I mean, through configure.
Libby, while they're doing that, can I ask a question?
Mhm.
I have several designs of Emily Scott edge to edge quilting.
Yeah.
And when I pull them up on the screen, not in Premiere, but just pull them up on the screen, I can't see the design because it's white on white, essentially.
Mhm.
Is there a way to change the background in the design? Or do I have to import it to do that?
I'm shocked or confused that you can see the design without opening it in Premiere.
It's just a picture of it. It's not
Oh, no,
it's like,
that's,
it's the I don't want to say icon. It's a thumbnail.
okay, so the thumbnail you can't see. I don't know of a way to change the background in a thumbnail.
Okay.
However, if you were to bring them into Premiere,
Yeah.
and then change your background, load each one, and then save your changes, from that point forward, they would always show you the thumbnail with the background that you saved them with, which might be worthwhile taking the time to do that if you want to be able to see that preview because you're trying to quickly decide, or not even quickly, but decide what you want to use on your quilt, and you want to be able to tell from the thumbnails. It might be worth making those changes and saving them that way.
Okay. If we have time, would you show us that real? I'm
Yep.
changing the background later.
Yep, and I'm going to write that down too, because I've got answers to the questions from last time that I want to show. So everybody all set, reset, and ready to rock and roll?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, I'm going to do a share screen again. And I'm going to open Premiere. So I'm just going to double click on my Premiere icon down here in my taskbar. Again, I could have gone over to Start, rolled down through there and found Premiere +2 EMB. Okay, so last time Jean asked about how to remove the background underneath things. And so that when you're stitching, if you put two designs on top of each other, you don't want all that bulk underneath. So I want to show you guys how to do that. Where are they? Oh, I know. Okay, so this is not in your instructions, but we're going to do all of this today as well. So don't panic when I show you this. I'm going to go up here to Insert. And I'm going to put a design on the screen so that I can show how that works. And so what normally would happen is I would come, it depends on where you were last. My file structure opens. I'm going to go to Documents and then Premiere +2, because that's where all of my designs live, or most of them anyway, the ones that I have properly stored. And then I'm digital chaos. Then I'm going to go to samples, and we're going to play in the samples today. So, and that is going to be in your instructions. So don't panic about this not being written down. I'm going to Premiere +2 embroidery, EMB. And I'm going to go into my Stitch 2 file because there's tons of designs in here. And in there are all these different folders. They're all full of designs that you own because you purchased Premiere. I'm going to go into butterflies and bugs. And here are all of the butterflies and bugs. We're going to play with these ladybugs later, but right now I just want to show you this, what was asked about as far as removing stitches underneath something. So I'm going to put the beehive in my screen. I just double clicked it. And I want to make it a little bit bigger because I'm going to put a bee on top of it. So I'm going to use my resize button, which is up here in the middle. If I don't use resize, I can still grab hold of that corner and make it bigger, but it won't fill in stitches when I've made it bigger. So I'm going to say, please resize. Notice I got blue handles around everything. And when I get over that corner handle, I can drag that bigger. So there's a bigger beehive. I'm trying to think what I was calling it. Now I'm going to drag it down into the middle, and I'm going to go back to insert and put a second design in there with the beehive. So it's going to take me right back where I was, and I'm going to put the bumblebee in there with the beehive. So I'm going to double click Mr. Bee, and I'm going to drag him up. He's a little bit big, but that's okay. It'll still demonstrate what we want to see, or I could resize and make him smaller. Notice over here, I have 5,754 stitches for the bee. That's what's got the box around it. If I make it smaller, there we go. I want you to notice that the stitch count changed to 4,330. So when I use resize, it changes the stitches. And I think that's almost more important when you make it smaller than it is when you make it bigger. Because when you make it smaller, if you don't take away stitches, you end up with a bulletproof patch. Okay, so now I've got two designs on the screen. I'm going to combine them. So now they are one design. Jean, watch the magic. I'm going to hit my design player so we can see how it stitches out. And the design player will show you how your design is going to stitch. I'm going to make it bigger just so you can see it better. I'm going to hit play, and then I'm going to speed it up. Now watch what happens. So it's putting down the underlay stitches. Look at that gap. It's leaving right there. It's not stitching the beehive where the bee is going to land. The software is so smart, it does it for you. So you don't have to remove those stitches. Here comes the beehive filling in. Let me speed that up even a little bit more. Every time you hit fast forward, it doubles the speed of your display. So there it goes. The beehive fills up, leaving a gap for the bee.
That's amazing.
Isn't that amazing? It's like, you don't have to do it. It'll do it for you.
That's amazing.
So
My old program, I would have had to have taken those stitches out, and I never got into figuring that out. So that's
complicated. Awesome. Isn't that awesome? Okay, yeah. So then Jennifer said, well, what happens when we add a design? So now I'm going to add a flower. Okay, so I'm going to go back in here to my samples. I'm going to back up, and I'm going to go to my flowers folder. And she wanted to know if I put a flower, or if I put more than one design on the screen, I'm going to add this tall flower, and I want it to be behind the beehive. How do I make that happen? Well, that's really, really simple too. I'm going to come up here to layout order, and I'm going to say, move that flower backwards. How it just jumped behind the beehive. Looks like it's growing from behind it. Okay, so layout order allows me to move forwards, move backwards, move all the way to the front, or move all the way to the back. So backwards and forwards either backs it up a step at a time or brings it forward a step at a time if I had 6 designs on the screen. Okay, so if I say, oh, nope, I want to move that forwards and I want that flower to be on top of that beehive, I can do that too, as though it's in the foreground.
Huh.
So those were questions that were asked the other day that I wanted to make sure I answered. Now, once I have combined, and we'll talk about this today. Wait a minute, let me get this flower out of the way. This is one design because remember I went and did a combine so you could see the stitch out. I can't move anything anymore because it's one design. The bee and the beehive are one design because I combined it. So if you want to have the ability to manipulate when you have multiple designs on the screen, always, always, always save it as a VP4. Remember we said VP4 is for everyone, and that'll save it in pieces and parts, and then you can play with it when you go back in. Questions about that? Are you excited?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Isn't that awesome? I thought it was. That's one of the things that I think is really, really amazing about the software is its ability to almost intuitively know what it is you're trying to do. I didn't realize when I upgraded, I don't remember if it was this one or the one before, that it was automatically going to color sort when I export it, which is how I got into trouble on the appliques. I didn't know, and it thought that was a good idea. The system was like, oh, you got all these colors, let me put them together for you, which is great as long as the designer used different colors for every single applique. But if they didn't, all of a sudden you're doing Pam's that cowboy boots thing. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not getting to put any toes on my boots. What's going on here? Because it just went right through it. Okay. The other question from last time, and I apparently didn't get it written down as a question. Marty, you wanted to know something about the clipboard. What was your question?
Yeah, I just didn't understand what you use the clipboard for.
Oh.
I don't know.
Okay. No, I was like, I knew she had something. So let me show you, and we're probably going to use it today anyway. But let me come back to this particular. Okay. Let's say that I like this flower, but I don't know if I want to use it right now, or maybe I want to use it in another design. When I click on copy, it puts a copy of it in the clipboard. So if I had another window of Premiere open, I could go to that window and then bring that flower into that design. Or if I don't really know where I want this flower, or maybe this isn't the flower I want for sure, I can delete the flower on the screen, but because I've copied it, it's sitting there waiting on me for when I get finished with whatever I'm doing, then I can just say paste and it puts it back on the screen.
Paste, okay. Huh, okay.
Another way to use that now, some people go nuts when there's something in their clipboard and they're like, I don't want that there anymore. How do I get rid of it? All you do is click on the clipboard and it goes away, gone. Okay, I just got rid of it. However, I wanted to show you something like, come back here, flower. Okay, so we have copy and we have cut. If I cut it out of my screen, it also drops it down onto the clipboard. Okay. Waiting for me to paste it somewhere else. So I can do copy or I can do cut, okay, to get it down there, depending on what I want to happen on my screen.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
The clipboard is amazing. We didn't used to be able to have multiple windows of Premiere open at the same time, and now you can have a ton. You can have so many open that you get lost. So be a little careful about opening a whole bunch of them, because you'll start doing something, you'll go, whoa, 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 that's not the design I meant to do that in. So, all right. So I'm going to show you our steps for today. I'm going to get rid of our adorable little beehive and bee. We've already done reset all modules. So we are now, we have our Premiere +2 open, or you will as soon as I get out of your screen, and we're going to do a change hoop. 3 ways to change the hoop. I can do it here. I can do it up here, And the nice thing about up here is no matter what window I'm in, even if I'm in Encore, that one's still there. So I don't have to go home to change the hoop. If I'm on home, I can go here. The other way, if you're a keystroker, is Control H will allow you to change your hoop as well. So I'm going to do a change hoop. And as always in class, I'm going to use universal so we can all be on the same size hoop. And I am going to change my hoop to the 240 by 150. So my hoop group is universal. My size is the 240 by 150. And I have the opportunity to have it in the rotated position. That is not the direction it goes into the machine, right?
Yeah.
Or I can have it in the natural position. And there, so if you can't remember, usually there's a picture that shows you what's going on. So this is the natural position, which is what we're going to use today. The other thing that I wanted to show you is, see this included in my hoops? When you start working on your own, you can choose your machine type. For instance, if you had a FOF creative icon and you chose the 200 by 200 quilters hoop, which you own, if you say included in my hoops, when you choose the hoop group, my hoops, it'll show up in there when I click that drop down.
Oh, good.
So you can actually save the hoops that you own by clicking included in my hoops, which is helpful because we all, you know, it's like, well, I know I've got that oval hoop, but what size is it? And so you can take the time to put the ones that you own in there. So let me go back to universal. And what did I say? 240 by 150, natural, okay. So,
Does it have the Bernina 790 in there, in the hoops there?
it does. When you go to Bernina 790 for your machine group, it sure does.
Okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome. So everybody go ahead and get your hoop changed.
Hey, Libby, I have a quick question about the Zoom view. Is there any way I can get the people's faces off so when I see your hoop, I see your whole everything, even on the right-hand side, instead of the people's faces?
Minimize everybody's faces when you've got my hoop in front of you.
Okay, so should I be like on gallery view right now?
Barbara, come on and help because I can only see the presenter view and I see you shaking your head, so I think you know. So Barb, unmute yourself and talk to Jerry. We got to unmute. Barbara, unmute yourself. She's talking away.
Sorry.
There she is. There she is. Okay, talk to Jerry.
My Zoom is on an iPad, but I'm touching part up in the up above where all the faces are, and you can switch to active speaker. And then when I
have speaker view, gallery view, and full screen. That's what my choices are.
speaker view,
Speaker view. Okay.
try
Got it.
that.
All right.
Is
And
that
then
better?
Jerry, or did that just make it big on top of everything for you?
Okay.
Is
The
that
other
better,
thing-
or do you still want to get rid of the film strip?
Nope, I'm good. Just see Libby now because I can see everybody. It's like I can't
Okay.
see the screen. Okay, thank you so much.
There you go. Yeah, Jenny Weisberger is in the master class, and she's usually the one that helps because she helps everybody from the viewer perspective. Thanks, Barb.
You're welcome.
Okay, everybody get their hoop changed? We good to go?
Yeah.
All righty. Okay, so I'm going to take over again and show you. Is that big cursor working out okay for everybody so far?
Yep,
Seems to be helping. Okay.
looks good.
There's one other thing that I want to point out to you in the change hoop. Down here in this bottom piece, you can enter a hoop size. And you think, well, if there's all these hoops listed, why would I ever want to do that? Well, you might be trying to design something that's 100 millimeters by 100 millimeters or whatever size, and you want to make that size hoop on your screen. If you enter a hoop size, notice the top grays out. I've had support calls where people go, I can't change my hoop anymore. If there's a check mark down here, this top is grayed out. It thinks you want to enter your own hoop sizes. So if you ever get in here and you go, what is wrong with this thing? If there's a check mark here, you can't make those changes up top. So just be aware that when that is checked, those choices go away. I just kind of wanted to point that out. So we've all gotten there. It's like, why won't it work? And it's because we've got a check mark where we don't want one. Okay. So now we are going to do an insert. So I'm coming up here. I can either use this little file folder with the green arrow, or I can click File. Notice Insert is down here in the list. Looks just like that icon at the top. Open would open a new window of Premiere, or it would take out what's there and open a new one. A new window of Premiere would actually open a second copy. Insert is what we want to do right now. We're going to insert a design. And it tells me on number 5 that I want to browse to Documents, Premiere +2, Samples, Premiere +2 EMB, Stitch 2, Butterflies and Bugs. So step 1 is over here on the left to say Documents. This white bar up here is the path. It's the map. It's called a path in computer lingo, but it's the map. It's the trail. It tells us where we are. So notice right now I'm in my Documents folder with everything that's in there. I'm going to double click on Premiere +2, or I can highlight Premiere +2 and use Open. I'm a double clicker, but that is available too. Notice now I'm on this PC, Documents, Premiere +2. My next step, it tells me, is to go to Samples. So I'm going to open up Samples with a double click. There are samples for all of the different modules. We're using the Premiere +2 embroidery samples. Why they couldn't have spelled that out, it just makes it hard to find. But nevertheless,
Yeah.
Premiere +2 EMB. So I'm opening that up. There are pictures in here. You cannot stitch out a picture. So you can look at the pictures. I could go there and open that up, and there's a whole bunch of, oh, I forgot there were a bunch of folders. Oh, rats. I was going to show you some. Okay. Oh, can't see them because I'm in Premiere +2 EMB. I would have to be in a digitizing portion of the software to see pictures. So I'm going to go to Stitch 2, and I am looking for the butterflies and the bugs. So I'm going to open that. So if you ever are in a folder and you go, oh, I want to know how to get back to here. I really like that dragonfly, or I really like those butterflies.
Are you on
Just
camera?
look up here and see where you are. Documents, Premiere +2.
Oh, you gotta rub, you can't walk by that.
What's that? Stitch 2, butterflies and bugs. Okay, now I can change my view of these embroideries. And to do that, right over here is a change your view icon. When I click that, I can change to a list, which is extremely not useful, right? That's the way we look at word processing stuff. I can go back into there, or I could choose small icons. That's not helpful either. So large icons or extra large icons is usually how we want to look at our embroidery thumbnails, okay?
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to large. So I'm going to large icons. We're going to play with a couple of these ladybugs. There's a flying ladybug and there's a regular ladybug. Our first choice is the regular ladybug. So I can highlight that and click open, or I can double click it. I'll do the open. When an embroidery is inserted into our screen, it's going to go right in the middle. Okay, so because we are going to eventually bring other designs in, we're actually going to move this ladybug out of the center. So when I put my cursor over it, notice I get the arrows pointing all 4 directions, meaning I can grab it and move it. So I can pull it, just a left mouse and a pull. However, and some of you have probably done this, see how my cursor just changed to just 2 lines up and down instead of the arrows? I'm over that little circle that's in the center when I do that. And a lot of people do this and they try to move their design and they go, uh-oh, what'd I do? I just moved that little circle. What on earth happened? That was the center of the design. And that is where it would have rotated around had we used the rotate key. So I just clicked off of the design and then back on it, put that center back where it belongs. So when my cursor goes over that circle, which is only on the right-hand side, and that means rotate, I can rotate my ladybug with that command. If I have moved my center out here, it's really a rotation point. Now my ladybug is going to rotate around where I just put that center.
Yeah.
Outside.
Huh.
You go, well, what on earth is that helpful for? I designed my daughter's prom dress and I did all sorts of embroidery and beading. I built the thing on her and then we did all this stuff. And there were times when we wanted something to be able to be moved based on a rotation point that wasn't the center of the design. So there are times until you need it, you go, I don't know what that's for. And then you go, oh yeah, that's awesome. So let me put him back and put him back. He's still crooked. All right. So that's the rotation over here on the side. In the center, if you get it outside, no big deal. Just click off of the design to make the box go away. Click back on it and it goes right back where it belongs. Okay. Now we've got these square boxes at the corner and those are the outsides of the design. If they are square, I'm inside the work area. Notice if I move my ladybug over here, what just happened to my corners? They became circles. That means that is not stitchable right now. It is outside of the work area of the grid, okay? So when they're round, it means you can't stitch them. It means you've gone too far. Go back. So I'm going to pull it back in and get squares. Now I showed you with that beehive that I could grab onto that corner and drag it to make it bigger or smaller. Notice I have 5,761 stitches right now. So if I get that double arrow there and I pull, they didn't change, right? White handles indicate fixed stitches, and so it does not change the number of stitches. If I'm using the undo up here, I don't know if you're all catching that when I play. I'm like, okay, go back, that was wrong. If I use resize, which is right here, my handles turn blue, indicating the computer is going to compensate stitches for me. So now if I grab and drag, it changed the stitch count, 11,820. It filled in for me, okay? I'm gonna undo again. Resize is a toggle. Notice how it's gold right now. I can turn that back off, and I do when I'm finished because I don't want to accidentally be disrupting my embroidery. It put it back to the white handles. Okay, so those are the 4 corners. We have 2 more symbols on this box. We have these little triangles. See one to the left? and one to the top right here. When I get my cursor over top of that triangle, notice I get a double arrow there, and that means I can mirror it right to left. So click, my ladybug just mirrored itself to the right. If I click it again, it puts it back. The top one does exactly the same thing, only right side up and upside down. So I can mirror to the bottom and mirror to the top. So that is kind of what is, I brought a single design onto the screen, and there's a lot of information there. All my colors are over here. I've got my boxes around things. When my cursor looks like that, I can move it by holding down my left mouse button and dragging. When my cursor looks like that, I can change the size, but if I do it with white handles, I'm at risk of having see-through designs or bulletproof patches, depending on whether I make it little. That's still got 5,761 stitches. I guarantee you're going to break a needle if you do that. Okay, there we go. Put him back, and I can flip it right, left, top, bottom, and I can rotate it. So there's a lot of stuff in a single design. All right, so I'm going to have you guys go ahead and go grab your ladybug. So you're going to do an insert. And then you're going to navigate your way to Documents, Premiere +2, Samples. I heard that, Premiere +2 EMB, Stitch 2, and Butterflies and Bugs. And you don't want the flying ladybug yet. We're going to get it later. You just want the regular ladybug.
No, there it is. Let's see, samples.
And go ahead and play with them a little bit. Play with the different handles and that sort of thing, because you can always undo your way back.
That's not what I wanted.
For those of you that have upgraded, we used to have only maybe 2 or 3 undos. Now we're almost unlimited. I haven't hit the max yet. Everybody find their ladybug?
Well, I gotta, where do I go that it shows the pictures on?
Okay, in the upper right hand, almost, it's not really in the corner, it's the upper
Oh,
right of the box. There's that view icon.
All right, I see, I got it, I forgot.
No, that's all right. And I'm really glad that happened to you. I hope it happens to everybody, because sometimes it goes ahead and opens in with the icons, and sometimes it'll go to the list and you go, how do I change that? And there's a different way in File Explorer to change it than there is inside of Premiere, and we really need to go over both.
Okay, so you just want us to get one ladybug?
One ladybug on the screen, and you can play with it a little bit if you like. Stretch him and then undo him and things like that. If you're a show me kind of gal and you want to see what it does, feel free. Jennifer, did you find yours? You were shaking your head no a minute ago. Did you get it? You're muted, so you have to unmute so I can tell me where you're struggling.
Where I'm struggling is I've got a little icon on my computer that I just double click on that rather than going into all the programs and finding it all that way. So I don't know how, once I'm in the Premiere 2, how do I insert?
Okay, so go up to the file folder in the upper left-hand corner of your Premiere screen, the one that has the green arrow coming in.
Yeah,
Click on that, and what do you see?
I just see my own file in my computer where I keep all my projects.
Okay, on the left-hand side, do you see the word Documents? Over there in that list, should be alphabetical, I believe. Double click Documents,
Okay, there's Premiere 2.
Premiere +2. Double
Then,
click
then I've got guides, my designs, pictures, samples, system backup.
samples, double click samples. And then you want to double click the Stitch 2 folder. And then you want to double
From
click.
and Premier +2 embroidery,
Oh, yeah, sorry, I skipped one. Look
Okay.
at you go. Yes.
Stitch 2.
Yeah.
And then butterflies and bugs. Got it.
Yes.
Thank you.
So Premiere, it set up a file structure for you. And so that you've got, when you get in there, you've got guides, my design, samples, and something else. Eventually, I would recommend that you move all of your designs into the My Designs folder
Okay.
and back up your My Designs folder. And by back up, I mean make a copy of it on a big old honking external drive or a USB stick or something, so that if you drop your computer someday, somehow, you don't lose all of your hard work. Pam at the shop tripped over the cord and lost a whole bunch of stuff because it hadn't been backed up. So she's a big proponent of, yeah, make some copies of your stuff so that
Okay.
it lives in multiple places. And most of the designs you bought, you've got them. You've got them on a CD, or you've got them on a DVD, or you've got them on a USB stick. But if you've gone to all the trouble to make a project, that you don't still have unless you make a backup.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, let's go on. I'm going to share screen again. We are, I showed you that you can move it by grabbing when you've got the cursor that looks like that. You can also use the computer arrow keys on your keyboard that are in the bottom right-hand corner of your keyboard to do small, like big or small movements, but you can nudge that design. So I'm clicking the right arrow right now and see how it's just oochie scooching itself toward the center. I'm almost there. There are times when you're trying to move that dude just where you want it. And with the mouse, you let go and it's like, I'm close, but I'm not quite there. So you can use those arrow keys to really micromanage where you're putting things. Okay, the design panel. The design panel is over here on the right-hand side. We've had many people in class go, oh, my design panel's gone. What happened? I believe it's here in view, show design panel. So view, show design panel, or don't show design panel. Well, now I can't see my thread colors because I just clicked show design panel to toggle it away. Sometimes if you're working on a really big embroidery and you're trying to get things intricately placed, you need that out of your way. Most of the time you'll want it to stay. So we leave it highlighted and we have our design panel over here. So the design panel tells us a lot of information about our design. It tells me my stitch count, 5,761. It tells me I have 6 colors. It shows me the width and the height of my design in millimeters. Since we are not European, we really have no clue, most of us, what 55.8 millimeters wide and 56 millimeters tall is. However, if I hover, except my cursor's so big now you can't see, it tells me 2.197 is my height, inches. And if I hover down here, my height, or if that was width, 2.205 inches. So if you hover over those measurements, it will tell you what it is in inches, okay? And then it shows me all of my colors. So if I put my cursor over a color, color number 1, watch the design. I'm gonna hover over that. Notice it turned the red a different color. So it shows me where that's going to stitch out. In this design, it's pretty apparent what is where, but sometimes you go, where is that color being used? I don't get it. So if I go over that burgundy color or russet, it's kind of the outline. See how the outline turned yellow? If I come down a little bit further, it's his spots. The second purple is the spots. I don't know who decided to make purple spots on a ladybug, but whatever. Now you can kind of see that the little ring before the antenna turned gold and the outline around the spots. The black is the antenna and an outline, and then the white is the shading. So you can tell by hovering over the colors where they're going to stitch. If we want to change a color, let's change our red. We can double click on the color and it brings up our color box. There's a lot of information in here too. Right now it's showing my thread ranges. So I have set up for myself some of the different thread ranges that I have. But if, for instance, I use, trying to think of a thread range that's out there, a Metler thread maybe, that's not in my range. I can click on show all thread ranges and do that drop down. And then there is all of the thread that, there's probably some missing, but it shows you all of the different brands and colors of threads. So you can change the different thread range if you want to. I'm just going to leave it here for now. The other thing that I want to show you is the quick colors. Remember, we played with those a little bit that first time. You can change the quick color palette. So if you don't like those, there's a little arrow right here to the right of the quick colors. And if I click on that, I can choose spring, summer, fall, or winter, and I can edit my themes. So if I'm stitching out a lot of spring stuff and I want a lot of springy colors to pop up for me to quick color pick, I click on that and see how my thread palette changed to spring colors. Maybe this fall, I'm getting ready to do a lot of pumpkins and things like that, and I want fall colors to pop. There they are. So you can change that color palette to suit your particular taste or where you might want to be. I'm going to go back to standard. Down here, all of the colors are here. So I can scroll through here if I don't want to use a quick color. So if I want to make my ladybug green, I can just click on a green and say, okay. I don't know why I would want to do that. That's pretty darn ugly. Or I can come in here and I can scroll and pick out the exact color. Let's do a hot pink one, hot pink ladybug, and say, okay. So that's how you change your colors, okay? Oops. All right, so I'm gonna let you guys go ahead and play with colors a bit. All right. So that is on page 3, bottom of page 3 of your handout. And you can get in there and play and look at some of your colors. Everybody needs a hot pink ladybug, right?
Of course.
Libby,
Yes.
on your themes of colors, so if there's say a Disney theme that has Disney colors on it, can you add that in?
I believe under edit themes, you can. I think you can play down there with that bottom selection and do, do some fun things. I'm so glad that the basics class is meaningful for you because I know you already know this software.
Some. I'm a muddler, so.
A muddler. I love it.
But I'm a better muddler than I was.
There you go. What is amazing? I forget what I just discovered the other day. Well, it was on the Mac because I don't design on the Mac very often, and I figured out how to do something that's been driving me crazy when I actually went through step by step. I was like, oh, there we are. Okay, ready to move on?
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to do a share screen again. And I am on page 4. And we're going to talk about this Zoom toolbar because it just drives everybody absolutely nuts. All right. So the Zoom toolbar is down here at the bottom. And so if I click on the plus of the Zoom slider and I let go, it made my picture bigger. It did not change my stitch count. It just gave me a different view. So zoom down here does not change the size of the embroidery. I can change my view by doing the plus or the minus. I can drag this little slider bar, whatever direction, and when I let go, there we go. There's a teeny tiny little design, right?
Yeah.
I can drag it back to the right and it'll make it bigger. If I've made it too small and I go, oh, holy smokes, I don't know what size it was. I want it back the size I had it. How frustrating. What do I do? This guy right here is your best friend. Zoom to fit. Zoom to fit will fit the work area to the screen and view the whole hoop or project area. So when I click on that, it puts it back. I get the view back that I wanted. Now, when I pull this zoom slider or use the plus and the minus, if I make that really big, my embroidery disappeared. It appears, right? But this little blue cross indicates the center of my hoop. So I know that my design was in the upper left-hand corner. So I can use my elevator bar and push up to the top. Oh, there it is. I found it. There's also a walking sidewalk bar, I guess, since it's not an elevator, going side to side where I can scroll back and forth. So when we start playing with these zoom sliders, sometimes it looks as though our embroidery's gone. It's not. It's just you've made it so big, it's out of your view. I'm going to do a snap to fit. Now I'm going to show you my favorite way to make something large so I can really see what I'm doing. And it's this zoom to rectangle. So when it says drag a rectangle around the area you want to zoom into. When I click on that, nothing happened, but when I move my cursor, watch what happens. It turns into a magnifying glass, okay? So what I want to do is drag a box around what I want to zoom on. So I always start at the upper left-hand side. I'm going to hold my left mouse button down and I'm going to drag a box around my ladybug. When I let go, it makes my ladybug big and in my view. It's right there in front of me. It didn't go zooming off the side of the screen or anything like that. It zoomed in. If I really wanted to work with this little bitty zigzag that's on the neck of the ladybug, I could do a zoom to rectangle and I can drag a box just around that. Didn't get super, super close, but you can see I can really start to zero in on what it is I want to see. I just really want to see that kind of thing. So I can keep going in and in and in. And then when I'm ready to be back to normal, I just hit the zoom to fit and it puts the whole thing back. Go ahead and play with that a little bit. Okay, so try dragging that zoom slider back and forth and see how it moves the embroidery almost out of the screen. Do a zoom to fit. And you'll find me in class saying snap to fit because that was the old verbiage. Zoom to fit, snap to fit. I'm trying really hard to get back to zoom to fit because that's what it's called now. But it can be super helpful for really getting an up close view of what's going on in your embroidery. So you know if you want to change something, you can. Okay. Good? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, the ribbon bar, tabs. So the tabs are the things, they look like tabs on a file folder across the top, all right? So the file tab, again, if you look at these little quick links that are way up at the tippy top, there's insert, save, save as, export, and print. When I click on the file tab, those things are all here. Save, save as, export, insert. So you can see print is here also. So there's quick links at the top, but then in file, and it gives you a good description. Save as, save the embroidery as a multi-part embroidery in the BP4. So if you're not sure what they do, you can click on file and hover over them and they will tell you. Now I'm going to hold over the open icon. This is different than the quick link that's up top. The quick link that's up top is the insert. The open icon opens an existing embroidery and it clears the current embroidery project. Meaning if I do an open, the ladybug that I already have open will go away. Okay. So not a big deal. We know where to go find it again, but open, we'll use insert a lot to add multiple embroideries into the same project. So they look similar until you really investigate them. So open and insert do two different things. Okay. Insert, however, either from here or from the quick link. I use the quick link because it's like one click instead of two. If I use file, I have to do file and then insert, which if I need to verify what the heck I'm doing, sometimes that's okay. I'm going to do an insert and we're going to add the flying ladybug to our screen. So the flying ladybug is right here. And I'm going to double click it or click open. Notice it plunked it into the middle of my screen, which is why when I'm going to put multiple things on, I like to push things out of the way so I can see all the things that open. And I brought my flying ladybug in. So I'm going to have you guys go ahead and do that as well, except I lost my cursor. That great big green cursor, I lost it. There we go. So go ahead and insert the flying ladybug. And it should take you right back to the folder you last used. So Jennifer, you shouldn't be lost as far as trying to find the flying ladybug. It should have taken you to Documents, Premiere Plus 2, Premiere Plus 2 EMB, Samples, Stitch 2. Trying to remember all those. Okay, so everybody have a flying ladybug?
Yes.
Good. We're ready for summer. The ladybugs have appeared, right?
Probably.
All right. So now we've got the flying ladybug and we've got the just regular ladybug. Right now, the flying ladybug is the selected embroidery because there's a box around it. A lot of us accidentally click off of any designs. Notice my design panel is empty and we go, oh, what just happened? Well, the design panel is empty because there's not a design selected. If I click on my flying ladybug, it has 4,894 stitches in 6 colors. If I click on the other ladybug, I have 5,761. So there are 2 separate designs on the screen. Okay, so I'm going to click back on my flying ladybug and we're going to make a copy of him. Okay, so I'm going to click copy and it kind of sort of looks like nothing really happened, right? Other than it put it on the clipboard. Does everybody see that it's over there on my clipboard now?
Yep.
Okay. So if I do this, I've made a copy of it. There's still one on the screen and there's one on the clipboard. In order to get this ladybug into the work area, I have to click paste. When I pasted it, oh, I wanted to show you that. Shoot. Let me come back here. I moved that first guy around. When I click paste, it kind of sort of looks like nothing happened, right? But what it did is it pasted it right on top of the first ladybug. Okay, so when I use paste, it's going to paste it right on top. Okay. I can add another ladybug by clicking paste again because it's still on my clipboard. So I can say paste and notice the box moved There's a third ladybug. It was right on top. So paste puts it on top of the previous, the original. That's the word I'm looking for, the original. Now, there's also a thing up here called duplicate. So duplicate, if you want to make an exact copy of what you have in one step, you can click duplicate. Watch the ladybug that has a box around it when I click duplicate. Notice it put that second one offset so I could see it happen. Sometimes duplicate's an easier way to work because you can actually see it put the extra ladybug offset of the original one. Okay, now if I want to get rid of a ladybug, let's get rid of that last one, I can click cut and it will take it away. Okay, so cut took it away. It's still on the clipboard, so I could paste it back. If I click on a ladybug and I say, I'm going to get rid of this one in the clipboard so you can see, if I do cut, it puts it on the clipboard. I'm going to put that one back. If I click delete right here, it gets rid of this ladybug altogether and doesn't put it on the clipboard. It just says, bye-bye, see you later. Okay. And again, if I go, ooh, I wanted 3 ladybugs, I can click undo and get that ladybug back. Okay, so undo and redo. I go, oh, well, no, I don't really want that. If I do redo, it takes it away again. So undo and redo, just go back and forth, step by step. Okay, all right, your turn. So we are going to copy the flying ladybug and it'll put it down in your clipboard. Okay. And then you can paste it. And remember, it pastes it right on top of the one that you copied. So you have to drag it to the side to a new location. Oh, I guess we were really going to make some copies of the original ladybug. That would have made it easier to see. We eventually would like to end up by using copy and or duplicate with 3 of the original ladybugs and 2 of the flying ones. So play with copy, duplicate, and delete until you end up with that number of ladybugs. Remember, if you use copy, you have to use paste. If you use duplicate, it's right there on the screen.
Okay. So we need 3 ladybugs, and 2 flying ones, right?
Correct. Correct. And then you can move those around however you like them. You can turn them right side up, upside down. If you want to try to make them look like the middle of page 6, that might be a good exercise to try to get the 3 regular ladybugs mirrored so that they're facing down and to the right.
Okay.
It requires 2 mirrorings to make that happen.
Yeah.
You have to mirror right side up and upside down, and then you have to mirror left to right. And then you can scooch them around. And when you accidentally grab that center, it doesn't move anything except the rotation point. So you learn real quickly, I don't want to grab it by the middle because that doesn't do what I wanted it to do.
I've done that so often and never realized what that was for.
It's a common thing because most people do. They go right to the middle and they grab
Yeah.
hold, and then you go, I just did a thing and I don't know what it is and I didn't mean to.
Yep.
Sounds familiar, apparently.
Definitely.
Okay, everybody got your 5 ladybugs? You good?
Yep.
Okay. Coming back then. All right, so now we've got these 5 ladybugs on the screen, and there we can select a different ladybug right now by clicking. So there I've got my top one, then I've got that one, then I've got that one, and I'm just clicking on them to move those boxes around. I can also use a box select to select an embroidery. And box select has a drop-down menu for 2 additional select tools. So box select is right here. If I click on box select, notice my cursor now has a tool attached to it. It's a box select tool. Many times people get this confused with this, with my little magnifying glass. Right now, I have a box select, which is not going to expand anything. It's just going to let me choose an embroidery. So if I wanted to select this top ladybug, I'm going to do the same thing I would do with the magnifying glass. I'm going to start to the upper left. I'm going to hold my mouse button and I'm going to drag my box so that it catches all of the stitches of that ladybug. Now that one is selected. Okay. There were 2 other tools in this box select. If I click the drop down arrow, there's a freehand select and a freehand point select. To use box select, I have to be able to capture all of the stitches that are in the ladybug or I won't get it. Well, sometimes they're too close together. So if this guy is up here like this, and I try to do a box select to get the other one, it got it, but sometimes you want to be able to really get in there. It's not a good example. When the embroideries are more complicated, sometimes you have a need to select something that is irregular in shape. So if I use freehand select, notice I now have a lasso. So I can draw, I'm just dragging with my left mouse button down, I can draw a lasso around what I'm after, and I have to come back and meet it. And I've selected that ladybug, okay? Sometimes that's hard to do because things are so daggone close together that you really can't get where you want to get. So there's also a freehand point select. And notice now I have a different tool hanging out on my cursor. I'm so glad I figured out how to make this bigger. You guys, I'm always trying to show that and the cursors are so small. So if I want to use the freehand point select, I can really get in close. Let's say there was something super close to this ladybug. I'm just clicking my way around with my left mouse button to select it. And so I can truly do an irregular shape if I'm trying to grab something. However, when I'm finished, I have to tell it I'm finished because the tool's still hanging on, right? If I click again, I'm going to get a circle way out here. I have to right click to drop the tool and it makes the selection that I have point selected around. Okay. So I would like for you to try all 3 of those around your ladybugs just to select different ones. So use your box select where you drag a box around it. And then try the freehand select, which is the lasso, and then the freehand point select. And again, these are different than the magnifier. The magnifier actually lets us zoom in, and this is to choose an embroidery to maybe change its colors or to maybe change something about it. And you kind of think, why do I need all these different? But some of you who have used the software know sometimes you get stuff in there tight with each other and you need a way to capture an individual piece. And this allows you to do that. Somebody's point select and I hear the clicks. It must be Donna.
That's pretty neat. I'd never seen that before.
Yeah, well, there's so many tools on the screen. It's just like, holy moly, what does it all do? I was trying to do something on my long arm the other day with the software, and I was like, there's got to be a way to do this. And I thought, well, slow down and read the screen. And sure enough, it was right there, but it was a tool I'd never used on the screen that I was in. I was like, oh, well, that's easy. Dum-dum. Just look at it. So that dum-dum was for me, not you. I promise.
That's pretty
All
neat.
right. Now for the next, this, you're going to love this. If that was neat, you're going to think this is spectacular. Okay, so we're going to look at the next select tool right under box select, and that is select all. So notice right now I have one ladybug chosen, right? If I do select all, it just grouped the whole kit and caboodle of ladybugs. So now I can move them around as a group and put them where I want them. Or I can even say, and we'll get to this, but I can say, I want this centered. I can go over here to alignment, center in hoop. Boom. The whole group is now centered in the hoop. Some very key pieces of information here though. Notice that the handles have turned orange, right? Orange handles mean I have a group. If you look really, really, really close, you can see the handles that are around the individual ladybugs. They're still there. So they're still living as individual bugs, but they're in a group. Okay, I still have my center rotation piece here. I can still drag that dude out of there. And when I do a rotate, it's going to rotate around that center point, right? Okay, I'm going to put that back. Whoops, select all. So now that's back in the center. Notice there is no triangle at the top or on the side because it's a group. So I can't mirror this. And the software does that to keep you from accidentally mirroring lettering. Should you decide to mirror something and stitch it out and go, oh, oops, I had a word in there that's now backwards or upside down. So it won't let you mirror. So you have to get them arranged the direction you want them before you group them. Okay, and then you go, well, I don't want them grouped anymore. I can say select none. Now I don't have a box around anything, and holy panic, my colors are gone. No, they're not. There's just not an embroidery that is selected. So if I select one, I get my 6 colors back. If I do select all, there are 5 ladybugs. 5 times 6, I should have 30 colors. Hot dog, 30 colors. Now I would want to color sort that before I stitched, but I would first save it as a BP4 so that it was a group that I could go back in and manipulate. Because if I'm going to do a color sort, I've got to combine it, and I'm not ready to combine it yet. The other piece of information that we can see right now is these lines. This keeps turning to that double cross. But if you look at the top pointer, see how the lines that are going around the group are dashed. The dashed lines mean it's a temporary group. Easy to break back apart. So the dashed lines are temporary. Okay. All right. So again, we can drag that whole thing around. And sometimes it's really helpful to be able to do that. Select none. Okay. So now again, if the ladybugs are all basically the same, but remember, I want to point this back out to you again. Next design and previous design. Next design will walk me through in the order that I put them on the screen, the order of the ladybugs. And to Jean's point, when I get ready to stitch this out, I probably don't want to stitch in that order. That's kind of silly because I'm going to jump from here to here to here to here to here. So I probably would reorder them. But next design and previous design walks me through all of the different ladybugs. Okay, so let's have you guys do some grouping and play with your select all and see how you can then move things around. It changes the number of colors on your design panel. I wanted to do another project, but I was like, you know, these are just such important pieces and parts of this to understand that I wanted to go through step by step. Okay, I'm going to share my screen again because there's another piece that I think you're just going to love about this. There are times when we want to maybe move just a couple of the designs, but we want them to stay in relationship to each other. So if I select this ladybug and I hold down my control key and I select the second ladybug, I've now made a temporary group of just those two ladybugs. And now I can move those independent of the other three. Okay. Or I can do a color sort. Notice I've got 12 colors. Maybe for some reason I want these to be their own deal and I want them to be the colors they are, and I'm going to go play with colors on those. I can do a color sort. I'm sorry, first I have to do a combine. Combine all new. I don't want to combine all 5 bugs. I want to combine the selected bugs. So I'm going to say combine selected. Now they are their own permanent little group. They've got white handles around, or right handles around them. They're not a group anymore. They're a single design. I can do a color sort and it will sort that design into 6 colors. So I can pick and choose by using control when I click to choose 1 or 2 things or 2 or more things to put together, and then I can move them around as a unit. I'm going to undo all of that. Put those back to free floating bugs. Whoops. Okay. And select none. And so now I'm back to what I had originally. Okay. All right. So go ahead and play with that a little bit. And you can select them all and do a combine and then a color sort, and you'll be down to 6 colors. Or you can select just 2 of them to put them in a group by clicking on the first one, holding down control, clicking the second one, and then you can move them around. And after you've played, undo yourself back to where they're individual designs again.
Libby, if you want to do a color sort, you could just select all and then hit color sort.
I don't think so. I don't think it will color sort until we have combined. So we have to
Okay.
flatten it into a single design before we hit color sort.
Got it.
Okay. Okay. Once you've got them as single designs, kind of move them so that they're still in the hoop, but there's room in the middle to bring another design in, just to make your life easier. So kind of pull them down into the edges and around. And then I'm going to show you how to bring another one in and do some things with it. Okay, sharing screen again. I am now going to insert another design into my work area. Remember, if I use file, I don't want to do open because open will clear what I've got and put something new on the screen. I want to use insert. And it's taking me back to where I was, which is nice because that's where I want to be. And I am going to use the Dragonfly 1. for this one. So I'm going to double click that. And there's my dragonfly. He's kind of pretty. I like his colors.
It's pretty.
Now, if I want to rotate him, I can grab this and do the best I can to get it the way I want it. Or if I want to rotate it in a certain increments, I can come up here and go, oh, go ahead and rotate him 45 degrees for me. And it takes it to that 45-degree angle. If I want it 90 degrees, I just keep clicking. There's another 45 and another 45 and another 45. So if I don't want to mess with trying to drag that thing by his side rotation handle, I can rotate in 45-degree angles with a quick tool right up top. I'm going to put him back to where he was. Whoops. Put him back to where he was. I sure did. I put him right back in the sample folder. All right, let's put it back. The other way you can do rotation, okay, let's do a rotate of 45 again. I can go to modify design, which is right here. And modify design, if you look at the symbols, I never really paid attention to this when I was new to embroidery software, but display and change the size and rotation of the currently selected embroidery. So the up and down arrow says, hey, you can make it bigger or smaller. And the rotation symbol means you can turn it from here. So I'm going to click on modify design. Notice I can change its size by percentages here, which is kind of handy. Because maybe I want it to be 5% bigger or 6% bigger or something like that. And I can also change the rotation. So right now it's at a 45-degree angle. And if I start to rotate it from here, notice there's a picture here. So right now it's at 45 because we did that. But if I start to rotate it, notice how that triangle starts to rotate in that box, showing me what I'm doing. All right, when I get to 90, the triangle is going to be pointing to 90. So this gives you an idea of what you're doing in terms of rotation by showing you a picture of what's happening. Okay, I think that if I were to take this up to 120%, notice proportional is checked, so it's going to change it in all directions. I don't think it's going to change my stitch count because I have white handles. Let's see. Sure enough, it didn't. So it's going to stretch that dude out and leave some empty looking spaces. So with small adjustments, not a big deal. However, if I had done resize and then modify, and I take it bigger, my stitch count changes. So if you're going to mess with percentages and you want the system to compensate stitches for you, you need to be sure and have your blue handles by turning on resize first. Okay. Undo. Come back to the beginning. I'm going to let you guys play with that, and I'm going to grab some water while you do. I'll be right back.
Okay.
I heard that.
That was me.
Okay, everybody have some fun?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
There we go. All right. One more thing I want to show you. I probably just interrupted somebody's play. I'll give it back in just a second. When we've got this at a 45-degree angle like this, if I move the butterfly over, notice that that corner of the box is out of the work area, but it's still a square, right? If I go just a little bit further, now it's round. Round is not stitchable. It's outside of the hoop. And you go, well, wait a minute, that corner's outside of the hoop either way. As long as the stitches are inside of the grid, I've got a square box. That is stitchable, okay? Because his wing is inside of the work area. If I take it just a little bit further, his wing is out of the work area and cannot be stitched, okay? One of the things that Premiere, remember if it was this release or the one before, sometimes you want something to be right at the very edge, just right there, and you're trying to drag it and you're not sure if you're there. There's this wonderful icon up here in the top in the ribbon bar that says move into hoop. Watch my dragonfly when I click this. It moves it to the edge of the hoop, but inside. Sometimes you want something to be right up in that corner and you want it to be just as close as you can get it. So I just intentionally drag it outside of the hoop in that upper corner, click move into hoop, and boom, I am in the corner of the hoop right where I want to be. Okay. I love that feature a lot. It's one of my favorites. Alrighty. So go ahead and move your dragonfly so he's just outside to the right of your hoop, and then do a move into hoop to bring it back just inside. So go ahead and take your ladybugs and your dragonfly and create a little embroidery project for yourself, spacing things and placing them where you want. Use your mirror, use your rotate, do something to make it aesthetically pleasing to you. Maybe you put one of your flying ladybugs in opposite corners or something, and your other three around. But play with moving things around. See if you get yourself into trouble. We usually do. You know, well, how do I get it back from there? Remember, you can use group. So like if you have two ladybugs that are friends and you want to keep them together, just group those two by selecting the first one, holding control, selecting the second one, and then they become a group. And once you get them all spaced the way you want them with the dragonfly and the ladybugs around it, I want you to do a select all to make them a temporary group, and you'll have orange handles around the whole thing, and then do alignment center in hoop. I discovered when I did a select all, I had something outside of my hoop because I've got circles for handles on my group. So I'm going to select none, and then I'm going to go next design my way through there until I figure out which one of my bugs has circles as its handles, because something's outside of the hoop. And honestly, it's one of the antenna on two of my ladybug, and I don't know which one it is until I literally next design my way through to find it. Oh, it's two of them. Ha! Did that make sense
Yeah.
for what I just said? So I can show you that if you need to see it. Okay, everybody good? All right. So I'm going to do a share screen and show you a couple more things. So again, I did a select all and went, row. I have orange handles. And when you really look at that, it's obviously, it's got to be one of these two. I thought maybe it was just one of them. I didn't know which one because it looks like the antenna's touching the edge of the hoop. So I did a select none and I did a next design. That one's good. I've got square handles. That one's good. I've got square handles. Next design again. That one's good. Square handles. Next design. Oops. So I'm not going to drag him. I'm just going to say move into hoop. He's good now. Next design. Oops. He's got circle handles. Move into hoop. Now I can do a select all and center in hoop. Okay. All right. Now we're going to look at the view tab. We've been there once already today where we saw where we could make our design panel go away, which if I were working in a really big hoop, I might want to do, but I'm coming over here to view. And there are 3 different views that I can look at my embroidery. Right now I'm in a 3D view and I'm viewing the embroideries and the background in standard 3D mode. All editing functions are available and the selection box is shown. It shows me my hoop as well. If I choose 3D realistic, it gets rid of all that nonsense. So I can truly see my embroidery as a design without all the lines, the squares, the dashes, the dots, the whatever. So now I can tell whether my dragonfly is over top of a ladybug. Sometimes with all that noise on the screen, you can't see that. If I go to a 2D view, it shows me, I really don't know when I would use this. It tells me that stitches are displayed only in 2D when you select the modify tab. Again, this one doesn't really do a lot for me, but the 3D and the 3D realistic I find helpful. I've had people say to me, oh my gosh, my hoop disappeared. And it's because they accidentally changed their view. You can still kind of see the outline of the hoop. See how that's just a little bit darker blue than the other. But the 3D view gives me back my hoop and all that kind of good stuff. Again, the show design panel can create quite the panic. Right now we can see the design panel. However, we can't, there's no colors over there because nothing's selected right now. So I would need to go back to home if I want to select the whole group, but I can select individual embroideries if I want to, and I can see what's over here in my design panel. Okay. All right, so go ahead and explore your view tab a little bit. And I think Jean, or I mean Barb, this is where you could change the background for your Amelia Scott designs and then save them that way. So you can go ahead and click on that background fabric while you're in the view tab, Barb.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then see how you can change the fabric
Yes.
inside the window. So you could change that background and put something darker behind it and then save the designs that way and you'll always be able to see them. Which might be useful.
I'll try that.
Okay. Obviously, you can change the color of the grid, the background grid, but that, I don't know that that
That
saves.
didn't, yeah, that didn't do anything for me.
Doesn't save. It'll let you see it once it's open, but if you actually save it with a different color fabric behind it, that saves as part of the design, and then you'd be able to see what the heck you were doing.
Thank you.
Seeing is so useful. Again, I don't know how people embroider without the software to be able to bring up the design, see the color, see the color. I mean, you load it and you hope it's going to do what you want it to do. Like, I like a little more control than that. Maybe I'm a control freak. I don't know.
I fell in love with Design Player this week.
Oh, did you? It's
Yeah.
super helpful. It is super,
Yeah.
super helpful. All right. Okay, so the next thing we're going to look at is how do I get help when I don't have Libby?
Yeah.
So,
What page is that on?
I love it. You always have access. You all have my email address, but there is some good help available. And sometimes I think I truly prefer paper. I like to look stuff up in a manual because then I can make notes on the side and all that kind of thing. And sometimes you don't know what to search for when you're looking for help. But we do have a help tab way over here on the right-hand side. And if I click the help tab, I have as a ribbon bar, again, I have help, I have internet frequently asked questions. You know, if you've struggled with something, someone else probably has too, and there might be an answer on the frequently asked questions. There's a learning center, there's some tutorials and interactive training exercises for some of the modules. There's show me experience, so you start to learn things. Of course, there's a purchase center where you can go buy things, designs and things like that, or upgrade options. And then if you ever call software support, they're going to say, what version number are you on? And you go, I don't know, whatever version I have last upgraded to. So the About Premiere Plus 2 embroidery, if I click on that, it tells me I'm on 12.5.0.704. And so if they say, are you on the latest version? I would say, I don't know. What's the latest version? So we get upgrades when we do configure smart update. And so you can verify whether or not you're on the most current version or the most current update. So if I click on help, it gives me the help tab. Notice over here, I have printing, preferences, troubleshooting, and quick reference guide. So if you're going, I want to learn more about applique, I can come down here to the applique tab. I can click on that and it will give me information about how to applique. It's only available in the Premiere Plus 2 Embroidery Extra. It's not available in the base module, the applique outline, how to define a shape, how to freehand a shape, how to make a hole so that you know you're appliquing, but you've got a circle in the middle. So there are great pieces of information out here in the help tab. There's stuff on the toolbars, the design panel. My goodness, I can't remember what that design panel is telling me. What does that little thing that looks like lines mean? I'm sorry, it keeps going to that up and down bar, but it shows you that that's the stitch count. So that icon is the stitch count, the width, the height, the number of colors, the worksheet panel, how to merge color blocks if you want to merge two color blocks into one color. So there is great information out here on the help tab. And I think it's fairly well organized. How to manage embroideries, getting started. How do I change a color? I forget. How do I do that? You can click on changing colors. Do you want to do thread colors? Do you want to do color tones? What do you want to do? Your quick color themes. Adjusting embroideries. it tells you what all these different things do on your ribbon bar. So you can click on them and figure out how to do it. Maybe you've forgotten how to rotate. You go, I don't remember how to do that. More importantly, how do I resize so that I get my stitch count to stay the way I want it to? How do I do things with alignment? So those pieces of information are out here in our help tab. Now, not only do we have that, we also have, once you get in here, you go, okay, how do I get out? Remember, you can always get back. Obviously, I can close the whole kit and caboodle because I'm on the internet right now, all right? Or I can, if I want to leave it open because I want to toggle back and forth, I can just come back down here to my Premier Plus 2 embroidery and have that open. And then if I need to go back to help, all I have to do is click on my internet icon and I can toggle back and forth between the two. Okay. The other thing that we have is, let me see if I can find one. I'm going to go back to home. I never use this one. Jenny always gets after me. I can, there's, sometimes you'll see a help, there'll be a question mark in a screen that you can click on to get specific help for what you're in. Ah, there it is. Golly, I have a brain, Libby, have a brain. Right here. Over in the upper right-hand corner, list help topics for the selected dialog box. So if I click on that now, it's going to tell me stuff about the home tab right out of the gate. So if I go back over here and I say, all right, I want to do an encore, but I don't remember what any of this nonsense is. There's a question mark right up here in the upper right-hand corner. And I click on that and it's going to give me information about encore. Boom, bring up exactly what I'm working on. So when you see that question mark in a screen that you're in, rather than going to the help tab, if you click on that, it'll give you specific help to what you're working on. Okay, does it make sense?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of help available. All right, so I'll let you explore those two things. And it tells you on page 11, when you click the help link, that help tab, you can browse by the contents, you can do a search, or you can just look at the whole table of contents in order. And you can print all of that. So if you're a person who prefers to have things printed out, you can print any pieces and parts of the help tab. When I was working on digitizing all of the embroidery for the AccuQuilt, the baskets that Aditya Star or whatever, I printed out a big chunk of create and how to do appliques because I was trying to get everything to work the way I wanted it to. All right, so there is help available. I get so frustrated with my daughter. I'll call her because she works for a tech company. She's a project manager and they develop apps and worksite websites and worksite apps and stuff. And I'll say, you know, is there a way to do this? And she's like, well, have you searched for, have you tried to get help online? I'm like, I don't know what to ask. I tried, I don't know what to ask. And sometimes just typing in something in a different order will give you a completely different set of information. So you really just got to kind of play. I mean, we used to know how to go to the library and use the indexes. And it's like, how do you search the internet and know that you've gotten decent information when you do?
That's true.
All right. I'm going to actually Let me go back to the home screen here. I would like to skip the next couple of pages in your handout because they're the most important. How's that? I'm going to skip them because they're most important, because you have to know how to save and you have to know how to export and you have to know how to save as. But I want to show you one more thing. I'm probably gonna get myself in trouble by doing this. Am I going to do that? Let's see here. Let me see what I got. No, I think we're going to be okay. So I want you to know that when you get ready to stitch out a design, you can print out a template for it. And when you print out a template for it, there's a whole bunch of information that you can get. So I'm going to click on File, and I'm going to click on Print. And I want you to notice that I have 3 pages that I can print. And I can print out whole pages, which is what I would want to do. So the first page is a template. Notice it tells me it's at a scale of 97%. You see that way up there at the tippy top in little tiny print? Because my scale, my print overview, it's going to zoom to fit. Okay, that's useful if I want to see how that design looks in the grid, but it's not useful if I want to place it on something, because it's not going to be full size when I print it. So if you are trying to print something out because you're going to embroider on a shirt, you want to make sure it ends up slightly above a targeted area rather than right on the end of an area you don't want your thing to print, you know, to be stitched on. You want to hoop reel size, okay? So if I do hoop reel size, you're not gonna let me? Hoop reel size, notice my first page doesn't have anything on it. When I go to my, come back here, cursor, you ran away on me. When I go to my second page, I see my design. And when I go to my third page, I see some more of the design. So you wanna print out in real size if you're actually using it for placement. On the last page, because I have all of these things checked down here, it printed with a grid. My design scale's at 100%. It's printing out individual worksheets. The print information is going to tell me all of the stuff, the dimensions, the hoop, the color information. If I've got decorative information in that, I'm going to put baubles and beads on here. It'll have that on there also. All of my notes, my settings, my export options, and my technical information. So let me zoom in so you can see. Notice right up top, the dimensions of the project, how many stitches it is, what size hoop I'm using. Here's all of my color information. Even tells me how many stitches per color. So if I see that I've got, I don't know, 9,000 stitches of red and I can see my spool through my red, I might want to pick a different color because I might not make it. Tells me what I used, my ladybugs, and it's from the bugs category, my flying ladybugs and my dragonfly insect. Export options, combine is enabled. Remember, that design is sitting on my clipboard right now. We haven't combined it. It's a temporary group. So it's going to combine it when I export it to the machine. It's going to remove the overlap, which was our beehive and our bumblebee. If anything was over top of each other, it would take out those underneath stitches, and it's going to color sort. This is what I didn't realize the newer version was going to do when I was doing applique. So you can print all of that out. Maybe you don't want all of this. Maybe really all you want is the color information. So what you can do is you can uncheck. I'm just gonna, whoops, I unchecked everything. Here we go. If I only want the color information and I choose that, then the only thing I'm gonna get, the only thing that will print is, why is it showing me all of that? Probably because I'm still in the same thing. Oh, it's not printing out all that technical information. It's only giving me the colors, okay? And of course and so what I'll do, yeah.
So in my color information, what I'm seeing is that The ladybug is in Robinson Anton thread, and the butterfly is in sulky something something thread.
Correct.
Does that mean I can change those all to Robinson Anton if I want to?
Yes, you sure can. Yes, you sure can. And there's an easy way to do it. There's a
Good, because it made me.
thank you for asking that question. Yes. And sometimes I get fussy about having my colors print out the way I want them to. And sometimes I'm like, I don't care. I'm going to pick a spool off the wall when I get ready to do it. So to Barb's question, no, don't go away yet. So this particular bug, if I click on one of the colors, is in the sulky metallic, right? Okay. So that's what all of those colors are. I can kind of tell by looking at that. If I come up here to color tone, remember these guys were in Robeson Anton. Just double click once you can see that the Robeson Anton Rayon 40, right?
Right.
Okay. And I go, I want my lady or my dragonfly to be in Robeson Anton. See this color tone tool? Ah, I love it. I just got the aha. We got a happy dance going on. Convert all the threads in an embroidery to those of another manufacturer. Also adjust brightness and contrast, selecting new threads automatically. So if I want this guy to be, in the Robeson Anton 40 range, I click on color tone. Here's my source picture, meaning the original. And this will be a preview of the dragonfly in the new colors. Thread range, I want to go to Robeson Anton 40 because I don't want to be switching thread brands in the middle of an embroidery. So let me come down here to the Robeson Anton Rayon 40 and say, okay. And that's the colors it selected for me. It shows me a preview and I can say, okay. And there's my dragonfly in the new colors. Or if I decide I wanted to do the reverse, what I can do is say, okay, select none. I want to change the ladybugs, but not the dragonfly. So I'm going to pick a ladybug. I'm going to hold down my control key and I'm going to pick the rest of them. Now look at that. I've got a temporary group and it looks like it's got the dragonfly. It doesn't. I didn't pick him. See how my group is just the ladybugs? So now I can do, move into hoop. There we go. I can do color tone. And what did we say that was? Sulky metallic. Wonder what they'd look like in sulky metallic. Might be worth going to get some sulky metallic thread. I don't know. Let's see what it looks like. Sulky metallic.
On the bottom.
Where'd it go? I just saw it. Oh, sulky metallic 30. And that's what it would look like. We get a little shine in some of the, and I say, okay. And then there's the metallic threads for that. And you can change them, obviously, but it'll give you a quick wash of what it would look like. So every once in a while, I would have maybe, I've got a Madeira thread chest. So I have a lot of colors in the Madeira. So I might say, okay, what are these ladybugs going to look like if I were to use my Madeira thread chest? And I would come in here and I would go down here to Madeira Rayon 40 and changes it a little. It's not huge. I hit Metler. Whoops. I was going to say, I thought it would change it a little bit more than that. Madeira Rayon 40. Brightened it up just a little. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I can live with that and change it. And then it's in the colors that I own. Okay.
create.
I love that ability to change. What are you doing? There we go. To be able to change those colors like into a different thread range altogether. So go ahead and look at your print screen for your design and look at the different pieces of information that you can get. And then also play a little bit with your color tone so that you're comfortable knowing that you can change those colors to a different thread manufacturer. Usually if I'm stitching out just on a plain piece of fabric, I don't worry so much about printing out the template and I'll just print out the color sheet. But if I'm trying to embroider on something and get it to land where I want it to, I'll pin that template to whatever I'm embroidering on, and then I'll use that to get it situated in the hoop properly.
Libby, what do we hit to get the color again, the colors again, the different color combinations from this page?
The color tone, which is right up there, almost dead center above the hoop. Color tone tools. It's next to resize. It's in between resize and rotate. You see it?
Yeah.
And remember, the design has to be selected that you want to use the color tone tools on. So if you click on color tone and nothing shows up, it means you don't have anything selected.
Oh, okay.
Nah, how'd I know that? All right, we good?
Yep.
All right. Here we go. Here comes one of the most important things I think that you can know about your computer and about your computer system. It's really important to know where you store things, whether you're using a file cabinet in your office for paper files, or whether you're trying to keep track of some special cooking implement that you use here, there, and everywhere. Well, you need to be able to find your designs when you want to. So I am going to take you on a little adventure through File Explorer to kind of show you how the computers are set up. And then I'm going to make a few recommendations about what I would suggest that you do with your designs. It's your computer, it's your designs. You can do whatever you like. But I do want to show you kind of how Premiere is set up and what I think makes sense. So down here at the very bottom in my system tray is File Explorer. It should be your very best friend ever, because with, oh, I didn't go over how to convert files. Don't let me forget to do that, Barb. You shared that and I sent it out, and I do want to go through
Convert
that
files, oh yeah.
with everyone. But anyway, File Explorer, when I click on that, it brings up a window. And if you look up at the tippy top of that, it says File Explorer. Okay. And if this is something that you guys all know and you're thinking, why is she going through this? Just wave me off and tell me I'm being silly, but most people really struggle with this. And what you'll see when you open this is something over on the side that has a list of everything on your computer. Now, you'll notice right now, I have in my path, quick access is what's open. So these are frequent folders for me, right? So it's just showing me my desktop. I go there, downloads, documents, pictures. Oh, we've been in butterflies and bugs 3 or 4 times today. I'm working on a quilt by Amanda Murphy. And this has got some instructions in it. This was the master class I just taught last week. And this is our club where I keep the written instructions, not the designs, but the written instructions. And people get over here in this quick access and they go, oh my gosh, what I'm looking for is not there. What the heck? I know it's on my computer. This is only where you've been recently. I don't like to use quick access at all. OneDrive is the scourge of computers. We'll talk about that another day. Next is this PC. So this PC, if I click the down arrow, this little caret thing, or on this, it will, let's do that. It will make a list of everything that is on my computer right now, okay? Everything. So I've got 3D objects, no idea, it's a system folder. I've got my desktop, documents, downloads, music, pictures, videos, my operating system for my C drive, which is the hard drive on the computer. This particular 2 things, you see there are X's on those, meaning they're not available. That is our network at the dental office, and I only have access to those folders when I'm on Wi-Fi there. It lives there, so it can index when I go to the office, but I can't reach them from here. And then last but not least, whatever network I might have. Okay, so Premiere stores everything automatically in documents for you. And the reason for that is because if you were going to back something up, you're probably going to back up the file folder documents because that's where you store your WordPerfect documents. That's where you store things. If you say, I've never ever backed up in my life, don't tell me that because it'll make me twitch as having been a systems engineer for NCR. It just makes me crazy when people don't back up. Walk into an office and then, I lost everything. I'm like, no worries, give me your backup. And when you get this blank white face, you go, oh, we got a problem. So anyway, as you can see right now in my path, I have the location of this PC chosen. When I click on documents, I double clicked it, it lists all of the different folders that are in documents. And you could have some just loose stuff down there. You could have, you may have stored a letter to Pfaff or a letter to Bernina or something like that and not put it in a folder and it would just be laying loose. Think of it as a file cabinet. You can put folders in your file cabinet or you can just stuff paper in there, your pick. It's much easier if you use folders. Okay, so Premiere Plus 2 is the file folder that Premiere created when you installed it. So when I click on Premiere Plus 2, I have to double click it to open it because I'm still on documents. So I'm double clicking. These are the system folders, and shame on me, I've got some junk sitting in there right now. These are the system folders it created. Guides, that's where all of your guides live. My Designs is where all of your designs should live. It was empty when you first installed your software. Pictures that you can use in Premiere. Samples, which is where all of those sample files are that we saw today, and a system backup. So if I open up My Designs, I have some folders in there for My Designs. Notice there's a Basics Club. So if I open that folder from last week or last month, there is our Spring Has Sprung that we saved as a VP4. That's the one we made during class. And Spring Has Sprung, the one that I did as a practice beforehand. And when I see this P+, I go, that's not helpful. I can't tell what that is. I remember because we did it last week. If I come up here to view, now remember, there was a view inside of Premiere. If we're in File Explorer, there's a view tab. And if I click on view and I click on extra large icons, they're not so extra large, but you can see the design that we had, right, from last month. Now, the cool thing about this is I'm going to back up one step. I'm going to go back to my designs. And I wonder if this is bigger so you can see. All right, so again, it brought up a list, but notice there are 3 that are designs because it's that P+. If I go to extra large icon, oh, that one's not helpful either because it's all applique. You can see the lines. All right. I hid all of my designs so that I didn't confuse people when I was teaching the Premiere Basics. So I want to show you how that Internet Explorer works. So go to my designs, you're gonna be appalled. There they are. So there are all of my designs, which I moved them just so it wasn't confusing when you guys started to use these. When I started to show you things, but normally this would live underneath the My Designs folder in Premiere Plus 2. And the nice thing about this is when you open up a folder, again, there they all are, but that's not helpful because you can't see what they are. So you go to the View tab and you choose extra large icons. Now you can see your designs, which is super helpful. And this was a great one to click on because we can show Barb's little trick here too, because they're all SHV designs. But at any rate, now I can see them. And if I'm searching for something in File Explorer, I can say, you know what? I really like that dragonfly. Do I need to remember the name of that and go to Premiere and then try to go find it and open it? I can double click it as part of your Premiere Plus 2 software, and it's going to open a window of Premiere Plus 2 with that dragonfly in it.
Huh.
So I can open from File Explorer. So I can go into File Explorer, I can do extra large icons, and I can open. Now, if you'll look down here, I have 2 windows of Premiere Plus 2. It didn't get rid of what I had going on. My dragonfly or my ladybugs are still there. It opened a second window with this dragonfly. So Marty, with the clipboard situation, if I say, ooh, I like that dragonfly better than the dragonfly that we chose earlier, I can get rid of Mr. Ladybug. I can click on copy, it put it on the clipboard. I can come down here and hover over my Premiere Plus 2. I can come back to this design and I can say, I've got a temporary group right now. I can say select none. I can go next design, next design, next design, next design, next design, next design. Now I have that dragonfly chosen and I can say, or I could have just clicked on it, but I want you to know how to do next design because sometimes they're layered and you can't get at them. And you say, I don't want you. And I hit delete and I got rid of that dragonfly. And now I can say paste and I've brought in the dragonfly that I found in my dragonfly folder. Okay.
Pretty neat.
Rotate him. So that's where the clipboard can come into play because you can open another design, say, yeah, that's it. That's the one I want. And then between the modules, it still exists.
Huh.
So
I'll be
I'm gonna
darned.
put the other one back so that we all still look the same. So again, File Explorer, I've got open down here, right? And always you can look right here to see where you are. This PC documents, in a world where I wasn't trying to confuse people, this would just say Premiere +2 and then my designs. So let's go back to that. I'm going to go back to documents. I just didn't have anything in there to show you that was interesting. Premiere +2, my designs. Now, if I have a, inside of my designs, I would like for you guys to have a Basics Club folder, and then you can save everything there, right? So what you can do, we've got 4 tabs up here. So I'm in my designs, documents, Premiere +2, my designs, file. I'm going to go back to the home tab right here, new folder. I can say new folder. And I can say, let's name this one different than the PP2 Basics Club 2020, whoops, 21. So I have just made a folder, and then I hit enter to get it to accept the name for our PP2 Basics Club. It's inside of Premiere +2, which is great. It's in the My Designs folder. If I double click that folder, it's empty because I haven't saved anything in it yet. It's a brand new file folder that I just labeled, okay? So when we get ready to save our design, we can then save it right into that folder. So what I would like for all of you to do right now, let me start from scratch and let me delete that so you can see the steps. Okay, we're sitting on our design that we've created, and we know that we want to save it in our PP2 Basics folder that we don't have yet. So we're going to come down to File Explorer, and we're going to click on that. Then we're going to go to Documents under this PC. Stay out of Quick Access until you really are comfortable. I'm going to go to Documents. I'm going to go to Premiere +2 and open that. And if you can't remember if it's a double click or a single click, when I clicked once, it just highlighted it. I thought there was an open up here. There is. Is that, yeah, open is up there. Double click is so much easier to me, but there is an actual icon for open. So I double click Premiere +2, and then I double click My Designs. And now I'm going to say I want a new folder in there. I could save it right into here, but then you get a mess. Like when you look back here, I've got junk hanging out here at the bottom. That shouldn't be there. That should be in a folder. That's loose paper on my desk. So My Designs, new folder. Oops, I got carried away. I did it twice. So when that is highlighted blue like that, I just type in PP2 Basics Club. And then I have to, there's still a box around it, so I have to say please by saying enter. And now that exists as a folder. Okay, so I'm going to give you back your screen so you can create that folder, and then we'll talk about how to save and export into it. Okay. Donna, you know I'm a fanatic about this. She's frowning at me already. But you got it because you cleaned up a whole bunch of your computer.
Oh, yeah.
So didn't you? You got a lot of stuff organized. So it's File Explorer down there in your sys tray.
Yes.
Then you double click Documents. Then you double click Premiere +2. And then you double click My Designs. Then we're going to make a new folder. And there is an icon for that right in the center of the ribbon bar if you're on the Home tab. And you type in the new name. Well, what?
Well, I already have.
Oh, that's fine. You see, you just already know what you're doing. That's fine.
Yeah.
That is absolutely fine. When I buy a new set of designs, I create a new folder in my designs folder and I name it exactly the way the CD or the USB stick is named. Exactly the same, because then I can find it and I know what it is. Okay, so did everybody get a folder created?
Yes.
Awesome. All right, so now how do we save into the folder? And this is where a lot of us go awry. So let's go through those steps. All right. And I accidentally created a second new folder right here. Remember, I'm just going to highlight that and I'm going to oh, I could have used delete up here. I'm a right click and a double clicker. I could have hit delete, or I right click, and when I right click on a folder name, it gives me the opportunity to rename it or delete it. So sometimes you'll misspell something. Rename will let you correct your spelling there. So I'm going to delete that folder. Okay, now I'm going to close this. Okay, so I'm on my design, right? The first thing I want to do is I want to save this design as a VP4. Remember, 4 is for everyone. Even though it's Viking Foff, VP4 is for everyone. Bernina, Baby Lock, Janome, Viking, you name it. So I don't want to combine. I don't want to color sort. I want to save the pieces and the parts because I might want to come back in here and put this dragonfly in here instead of that one. And it's a lot easier if it's still individual designs and you can still see the little boxes around each individual design. So I am going to do a save as, which is my little floppy disk with a pencil on it, meaning I can name it. Before I do that, notice this design is not named, it's untitled. So we know it's still, we haven't done anything with it besides things on the screen. We haven't saved it yet. So I'm going to say save as. Look what it brings up for me. It brings up the equivalent of a file explorer window, right? And you look at this and you go, okay. And because we were just in my designs, that's where it brought me. But sometimes it won't. Sometimes you'll hit save as and you'll get this and you go, well, where's my folder? What the heck? So remember, the path to Premiere always is Documents, Premiere +2, My Designs. I just double clicked each one of those. Now I've walked my way to this PC, Document, Premiere +2, My Designs. I'm not finished yet. This is where a lot of us goof. We go, oh, I'm in My Designs. I'm going to name my file and save it. If you do, it'll be down here at the bottom. I have not opened the folder that I wanted in yet. I've got to double click that new folder. So now I'm on this PC, Documents, Premiere +2, My Designs, PP2 Basics Club. Now I'm where I want to be. Now let's look at the bottom. My file name currently is untitled. We've all done it. We've all saved them as untitled. And we go, whoops. So we do want to type in the name of what we want to call this thing. Notice it's the default, it's going to save it as a VP4. It wants to help you. It's trying to save it as a working file. So I'm going to click into that file name bar. And I have no idea what we're calling this thing. Do we have a name that we're supposed to use? It doesn't really matter. I'm just going to call it Ladybugs and Dragonflies. Ladybugs and Dragonflies. Fly. One dragonfly. Okay. And I'm going to say save. So now I go, did I save it? Did I not? I think I did. What did I do? Look right up top at the title bar, Ladybugs and Dragonfly. It has been named. It has been saved. If I'm unsure, I can go see my best friend, File Explorer. Oops, click too fast. And I go, okay, so here it didn't bring me back to where I just was. I've got to do the walk, Documents, Premiere +2, My Designs, come on, PP2 Basics Club. There it is, Ladybugs and Dragonflies. And I go, well, why aren't you showing it to me? Is it the one I just did or is I not? Go to View, go to icons, extra large icons. Now I can see the design, okay? So I want all of you to do that.
Okay.
This is when Donna jerks her hair out.
No, believe it or not, mine are in good shape. I have Software Club 2019,
Good for
Software
you.
Club 2020.
Yay. So the
You
steps
just need
are,
to help me get on one computer.
yeah, we'll do that. She emailed me,
Man,
send it to another email address. I'm like, you can just forward it. She went, huh? We'll get it done. All right, so it's save as. You can either click file and then save as, or the little floppy disk with the pencil. Then walk your way through the file structure until you have your PP2 Basics folder open, and then name it Ladybugs and Dragonfly. And save as a BP4. And then if you're from Missouri, go ahead and click on the File Explorer and look and make sure it did what you told it to do from the Show Me state.
Libby, I have a quick question about making my folder. If I'm on the home and I click new folder, okay, and then I type it in there, what my name is, and then hit enter, is that what you're saying to do?
Yeah, are you inside of My Designs, Jerry?
Yeah, I never got my folder made. That I don't think I got my folder made. I can't find it if I did.
Okay, so start with File Explorer. Or what, wait a minute.
I did. I went File
Okay.
Explorer, and then
All
I
right.
have Documents and
Yep.
Premiere 2.
Yep,
And then I'm trying to figure out
My
where that is.
Designs.
My Design, sorry. I'm doing it again. So My Designs.
That's okay. Oh, when you said the Home tab, there's a Home tab in Premiere and there's a Home tab in Explorer. So I was just making sure we were in the same place. So yes, once you're in My Designs, if you don't have your folder listed there, you want to make a new folder, and there is a new folder icon up in your ribbon bar.
Okay, I know what I've done like 5 new folders. I guess I just didn't get them named or something. I don't.
Okay. All right, then instead of making another one, I want you to right click on, or I want you to highlight new folder just by clicking one time. Don't open it, just click on it.
Am I clicking on the folder itself or the name on the top where it says new folder? Like after My Designs, it says new folder.
The new, not up top.
Okay.
There should be a list that shows you new folder and then new folder 1, new folder 2, new folder 3.
Right, it does.
Okay, so I want you to left click one time on the first one that says new folder.
Okay, I right clicked on it.
Oh, that's okay. Did it open for you?
It said, can I hit rename? Is that what I can do?
Yes, yes.
Okay, now I can do it. All right, perfect. And then when you do that, do you just hit enter? Is that all you have to do?
Once you've typed in the name, there's still a box around the name. And yes, then you say please by hitting enter. Please take my time and hit enter.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm like, well, I didn't know what I was doing, so.
Well,
Okay.
you saw me create 2. I clicked too fast and I had new folder and new folder 1. So it happens.
Okay, I'm good here now. Okay, on that part.
Well, you're almost good. Now you got to save as. So click on your floppy, get back to your Premiere.
Okay,
And
Premiere.
click on your floppy folder with the, or the floppy disk with the pencil on it, the middle one.
Okay.
And then make sure you get inside of that new folder. So did it take you inside of your new folder, or where are you? The white bar at the top, tell me where you are. This PC, document.
It says My Designs.
Okay, and then is there a list in the window, and is your new folder sitting in there that says club?
Yes.
Double click it to open it.
Okay, great. That's how you do it.
Yes. And then go down to the bottom and type in your file name. And click
Okay.
save.
And then hit save. All right.
Okay. This is the part that I have people in masterclass that have been in club for 3 or 4 years and they still get confused. So don't feel bad about that.
I don't feel bad. I just get lost. I'm like, where am I?
I understand. Okay, so now we have saved this as a VP4, meaning it still has all of its parts. We're going to export it next, okay? So let me show you what that looks like. And I'm going to do that before I do any kind of combine, because I want you to see what export does. I could go up here and I could do combine, I could do color sort and all of that before I export it. But I want to show you what our software does for us. So pay attention over here. I've got 30 colors, 27,000 stitches. All right. So I'm going to go up here to my floppy disk with the arrow pointing out, indicating I'm exporting, or I can go file and where is it? Export. Looks exactly the same. Either way, 2 ways to get there. Then a new window comes up. The file format that it defaults to is VP4. On an export, we don't want to use VP4. We want to use our machine's format. Sorry, I have something in my eye. So I'm going to do the Viking FOF first, and the Husqvarna Viking FOF uses the VP3. Okay, so you FOF users are going to use a VP3. So I'm going to choose that. And then right under there, it says optimize for sewing. Combine, yeah, combine it. Make it all one design. Remove overlap, oh yeah, definitely. Take out the beehive that's under the bee or whatever, wherever it might be overlapped. Color sort, you bet. I don't want to change my thread 30 times. Go ahead and color sort it for me. Optimize stitch length, yeah, go ahead. Make those stitch lengths good. If I had put rhinestones and beads and things like that, I would tell it what kind of stitches I wanted. And it automatically rotates my hoop so that it'll go into the machine correctly. And I'm going to say, okay. So VP3 was the choice. If I'm doing applique, I'm going to uncheck color sort because I don't want my appliques color sorted. Everything else I do. Okay. Again, I get this window, and Jerry, this is where you get confused. It brought me into my designs, but it didn't open my club folder. Okay, I'm at this PC Documents Premiere +2 My Designs. If I want it to go in my club folder, I've got to open it. So I'm going to double click that. My bar at the top now says I have the PP2 Basics club folder open. It says no items match your search. And this confuses people just a little bit. Because we're in the VP3 file mode now, it will only show me other VP3 named designs. And we don't have any just yet. The VP4 is in here, but it's not worried about me overwriting that. So it doesn't show that to me. So it says in my file name, it filled it in for me because I saved it first. It says Ladybugs and Dragonfly exported. It tells me this is your machine file. This is the exported file. So then I'm going to come down. I'm leaving that alone. I want it to be named the same. And I'm going to say export. So now I have exported this file and I have it as a VP4. I want to show you if I go back to File Explorer and I go to Documents, you'll remember this path when I get done because I keep having to go back through it. Premiere +2, My Designs, PP2 Basics. There are 2 files in there. One is a VP4 and one is a VP3, the exported file. If I open this one, I'm going to double click it. To open it, it's going to open a new window of Premiere. And I'm not going to see those orange handles anymore. Need to change the hoop so we can look at it better. Notice it has white handles and I can no longer next design my way through there. It flattened it. There's only 12 colors. It color sorted it. So it combined, color sorted, and made it an individual design, all one. Okay. So now let me open the VP4. I'm going to go ahead and double click that and open it in yet another window. I still have my 35 colors, all of my stitches. I've still got my orange handles. So I had to move it into the hoop. I had circles. So this design, I can go next design, next design, next design, next design. So I can choose that I don't want this dragonfly anymore. I can delete it and then I can paste in the new one that we found. I can't do that on that VP3 design because it's all one. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Awesome. So this is my VP3 that is flattened. I can't get to that dragonfly to switch him out because it's all one design, 12 colors. Okay, so let's export your design. So when you look at your title bar, it says Ladybugs and Dragonfly. So you know you're on the one that you've saved and you're going to use the floppy disk that has the arrow pointing out. It's the third one, or file export. And then make sure you open your club folder before you export it. And then look at that file name down there and it says the name that you named it and it has appended exported to the name. And anyone who is trying to export to a PES file format is going to have trouble, maybe. So I'm going to show you how to fix that. Did you have a problem, Donna, or did you just know how to fix it?
No, I just want to make sure. Make sure. Okay. Go to.
I'm going to share screen and do a PES export because usually it causes us all sorts of issues. Not all sorts, a common issue. And once you know how to survive it, you're good. Yeah. Okay, and everybody get theirs exported?
Were we just exporting the VP4 and not the VP3, or? I'm confused.
You should be on our VP4 that had the orange handles.
Yes,
And you're going to do an export.
right,
and
I
if-
did that.
Okay, you're good then. You're done. You've done
Okay,
it.
because I'm like, am I supposed to do an export VP3?
No.
Okay,
What do you sew on, Jerry? I forget.
same as you, VP3.
VP3. Okay, so you're good. You need
Okay.
to put your hands over your ears for a minute.
Okay, that's fine. I understand that. You start saying PES, I turn off.
There you go. Yeah, you don't need to know this. So
Okay.
I am back on my VP4 file, right? And I want to export it. And I'm either a Baby Lock or a Bermuda user. And so when I come here and I choose PES, I have a problem because it brought up that
That little
teeny
screen.
tiny little bitty spring hoop, which, I mean, why? I don't understand. So if I am on one of those two machines, I've got to do a change hoop. And I am not super familiar with the Brother choices, so I always go to Baby Lock. I wish they had Bernina. It would make life so much easier. So the manufacturer is Baby Lock. I'm going to come in here to the hoop group, and I'm either going to pick the Destiny or the Solaris because they've got the nice big hoops, which your 790s have. And I'm going to choose this, and then I'm going to come to my hoop size, and I need to pick something bigger, as big or bigger than whatever I designed in.
That's
Okay.
120.
So do I have to do the 240 by 240? I do. 260. I could do the 260 by 160. That would work, right? Because we were 240 by 150. So I can choose that, and I can say, okay, now my hoop is big enough to export my embroidery. And I can then say, okay. And it filled it in for me. Ladybugs and dragonfly exported.pes and say export. Okay, so you have to change the hoop to something as big or bigger than we used. Now, for those of you who have Berninas, you've got the oval hoops. When you're designing and you're not in class, you want to design into your biggest hoop if you're doing a big design, and just use your own hoop when you're designing so you don't create something that's bigger than what you can stitch. Okay, because you have an oval hoop, so you have to stay out of the corners, right? So for instance, let me see here. So go ahead and export, those of you who have your Berninas and your there's the 790.
Hey, Libby,
Yes.
in that process, can we save our hoop selection here? Okay.
No, not here.
Okay.
Not here. We have to do that when we're in the embroidery. I'll show you how to do that. We have to do it when we're to put it into the My Hoops collection. No, not in the export process. I'll show you how to do it though. Everybody exported? Are we good?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, hang on just one second. Oh, no, stop. I played. I got to put it back to what I had so I can show you. Just 1 second here. I'll do that beforehand so that I don't totally confuse everybody. All right. Share screen. Where'd you go? There you are. All right. So 2 questions at once. Donna threw me another curve. Okay. So here's my design. And this is my VP4. This is my original design because it's still got my orange handles around it, right? So if I have a Bernina, what I would probably want to do to get it into the My Hoops collection is go here, go change hoop. I'm going to select Bernina 790. I know was one of the machines I heard mentioned. I'm going to choose that as my hoop group. I'm going to click on the 265 by 165 because it's bigger than the 240 by 150 that we designed in class. So I'm going to choose that. There's my or the MIDI hoop. That's the MIDI. I don't know the names. I get stuck. If I want that included in My Hoops, in the drop down for My Hoops, I'm going to put a check mark right there. And then in the future, it will be in the My Hoops group for me. Okay, I'm going to say okay. So now I have my design in the Bernina hoop, and I have a problem because the Bernina hoop has an oval shape to it. And I've got a design that even though it looks like it's inside of the grid, it's not. That little dude's antenna is outside. See it? I've got square handles because the grid is rectangular, but the hoop is an oval. So I have to select, or I have to do next design, and I got to move this guy in if I want him to stitch out in that oval hoop. Okay. So you have to be a little bit careful. I know Mary Humphrey, it'll let you save it with it outside. She broke a needle on her hoop because you could actually have a design underneath the edge of that hoop because it's outside of the stitchable area, but the grid is that big in the hoop. Okay, so do take a look at it in your own hoop before you export it. So now I'm going to do a select all again. And now when I go to export, where am I? Right here. And if I choose PES, well, it's still remembering the hoop that I had. If this were the first time I had done it, I'd still have to do that change hoop and pick something bigger. I believe if we pick the EXP, it does. That's what I thought. And this is where we started years ago with Club. If you pick Melco Expanded as a Bernina owner, you get to see your own hoop in this screen. The Bad News Bears piece of this is it'll change all the colors. It won't hold the colors because EXP is a digitizing format and it goes back to the most basic colors. So my solution for this would be, some people really, really, really want to see the colors, that it'll still keep the same number of colors, but they won't be accurate. So what I would do is print a template when it's a VP4 that had my correct colors, and I'd export as an EXP so I could see it in my own hoop. That's what I would do if I were a Bernina owner. Does that make sense? Because I can print the template, I can print the colors when it's a VP4. Once it's an EXP, it's going to be wonky colors, usually. Let's see if that's true. I'm going to say okay. And I'm going to throw that into my PP2 Basics Club, and I'm going to say export. Okay, so now I'm going to come to my File Explorer, and I'm going to open, where'd it go? Oh, there it is. Yeah, look at the colors on this thing. I have no idea why it does that. Premiere +2 embroidery. I had people losing their minds because they're like, I'm getting all these weird colors. I'm like, yeah, you are. But it is a designer. It's a digitizing extension, and that's what you get. But I can still go back to my VP4. And where are you? Which one? I think it's you. Nope. What did I do with it? I thought I kept it open. Oh, I changed the hoop. This is it. I changed the hoop, but this is still, because it's got the orange handles. I can do a file here, and I can do a print, and I can print my color information. I wouldn't print all that other stuff, but I would get all the correct colors and then export it in an EXP format. So you got to pick what you want to do. Okay?
Be darned.
Make sense?
Mhm.
All right. One last thing. I think we're, no. Oh, I didn't mean to close that. Oh, you ding dong. Oh, well, doesn't matter. One last thing for those of you who sew with a SewNet enabled machine, down here, it would be the Icon or a Viking, I believe. When you click on send to my SewNet, you can send directly to the machine when it's on, or you can send it to my SewNet, which is the cloud. And then with your SewNet enabled machine, you would be able to grab that without putting it on a USB stick.
Huh,
So
that's pretty neat.
it is cool. It is cool. And when it's not working, it just irritates people to no end. I've got a good friend who's got a Sonet enabled. When she called me, she's, I can't send, I'm having to use a USB stick. What's wrong with this? And I said, your husband is a tech maniac. Do you have two Wi-Fi networks in your house? Yes. I said, is your computer and your sewing machine on the same network? Well, no, does that matter? Yeah, it sure does. So questions? Anybody? Have I blown your minds?
I think you hit it all. I think that's good. You taught me
did.
a lot today. Very good.
We did do a lot. I know we did not do a project, but again, some of this stuff just isn't project.
Yeah.
We couldn't have done all of this if we had done a project. One of the things that I don't remember who asked about the conversions. Let me go find that Dragonflies folder because I was going to forget to do it. It's bigger than life. Come on. And remember, you can search for folders. So I'm going to go up here and look for my Dragonflies folder and click on it. There they are. So these are all SHV files. So what we can do, you had that so nicely written down and I don't know where I put it.
Select all.
Thank you. Barb's going to walk us through this. So I'm going to, because I want all of them to be converted to whatever file format it is that I use, I'm going to do Control A, or is there a way? Oh, no, I'm not. I'm going to show you how to do it with icons because you're not going to remember the control. I'm going to do Select All. They are all now highlighted, correct? All right, next.
Blah, 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 blah.
I believe I right-clicked. I know. Okay,
You're right.
so right-click when they're all selected, a drop-down menu appears. And Premiere +2 gives me the opportunity when I hover over it
To convert.
Yeah, menu, yeah. And then
Okay.
convert.
So what I did, just to back up, I select them all. And then I right-click. I go to Premiere +2. I come down here to convert. And it says, what do you want them converted to? BP4? Not necessarily, not if that's not what I stitch on, because these are individual designs. So maybe I want them to all be, oh, look at that. Doesn't that look familiar? There's our export screen. So now I can export them to a PES folder file. I can export them as a BP3. So if I want them to be a BP3, I select that. And then I say, okay. And it says, where do you want them to go? This is the output folder. Well, it looks like it's going somewhere in my designs, but I don't know where unless I click on these three little dots. And it's just going to go in the My Designs folder. So if I want to select the folder that they're going to land in, I'm going to click that drop down and go search for the folder I want it in. Well, I don't want it in any of those because they're Dragonflies and there's no Dragonfly folder there. So I'm going to say, make a new folder under My Designs. Let's call it Dragonflies. BP3, so I know that they're converted and ready to rock and roll. I'm going to say okay. There, it's going to go into My Designs Dragonflies BP3. It's going to add the trim commands. Great, because that old SHV didn't have trim commands in it. And guess what? Premiere says, oh, I can fix that for you. You can also tell it what thread range you want it to export to. All right, well, I have, let's see. What do we have with this? I have so many different threads. I forget.
Robeson.
Robeson Anton is one of, yeah, Robeson Anton, Rayon 40. I'm going to choose that. So it's going to convert them all to my thread colors. And I could add some extra notes if I wanted to. Maybe I got these from my mom or I got them from wherever. I don't need anything. And I say, okay. And it's going to convert them all. And you go, well, it still says that SHV. Well, these are the ones that I was, this is the folder where I was converting from. Let's go look inside of my designs and make sure it's there. So I'm going to go to Documents, Premiere +2. You guys will be able to recite this by the end of today. My designs. Look at that, Dragonflies VP3, by golly, by George. I open that up, they're all VP3s. I can go to View, say extra large icons, and it's working on it. It's being a little bit slow, but it will open all of those that way. Okay, thanks, Barb, for looking that up.
You're welcome.
There's a lot of stuff you can do when you convert. Holy
No,
moly.
Now with the Bernina, you can use either the EXP or the PES.
Correct. EXP will just give you some very creative colors
Okay.
when you export it that way, but it gives you the right hue. So again, I would print out that template when it's a VP4, or we all have, most of us have laptops. I would export it as an EXP. I'd have my computer open next to my machine and I'd feed it the thread from the VP4 file.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other?
Hey, Libby?
Yeah.
I have a question. Oh, I bought a backup
See that?
and I don't know how to use it.
Okay. How about if we put backing up our designs as a topic for our next class on April
Okay.
27th? And if everyone will either have a large USB stick or an external drive, we'll go through the steps to do that. Now,
Okay.
we, most of our machines do, and I think we talked about it last time, they don't like the big USB sticks because their computers are not as robust as what we use on our desks and our laptops. So you want a USB stick that is 1 gigabyte to take things to the machine, but you want something bigger than that to store all of your designs. So a 64
Okay.
gig for backup would be great, or the external drive, that sort of thing, okay?
Okay.
All right, 9 o'clock next time on the 27th, right? Okay, and I'd love to see you stitch some of this out. Like I said, I didn't make it into a project this time, but you certainly can get in there and play with some of the butterflies, or maybe you want to do the little beehive with the bumblebee to really see for yourself that it doesn't put all those stitches underneath that overlap design, and you can move a flower to the back and all of that.
That's
All
awesome.
right, everybody have a great Easter.
Hey, Libby, I have one more question.
Okay.
When we go to YouTube, how
Yes.
do we find this?
I will
Right.
have to send you the link because it's a private link for just those of you who are in class. So when Katie gets that finished, she'll send it to me and I'll blast it out to all of you.
Okay.
Okay?
Thanks very much, Libby. Thank you.
Okay.
Have a great
Thank
day.
you.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.